Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another video for CJ's Card Corner. Today, I'm going to talk about baseball prospects, specifically what maybe is best to look at when you're looking at investing in a prospect for baseball cards. Um, there's a lot of people out there that do videos on this, but I wanted to talk a little bit about my process and what it looks like when I'm looking to invest in a card or a player. And there's a lot to consider when it comes to that. So why prospect? Why is a baseball prospect different than, say, a football prospect? Well, a baseball prospect is a little more difficult to know for sure whether you're going to make money or not. There's a lot more boom bust potential because a football player is drafted and then usually plays right away. Now, that's not always the case. Like, some quarterbacks sit for a while. Even if they're a big prospect, sometimes they sit. Patrick Mahomes is a good example. He didn't immediately play in the NFL. But with baseball, you may buy a player and you may not have that investment come to fruition for 3 to 5 years. They can be in the minor leagues for a long time, honing their skills and meeting the league or the team's expectations before making the major league roster. And some teams bring up players quicker because they're not competing or they don't have a set roster and they're looking to fill spots. So there's a lot of risk, but there is also really high reward. A player's cards can jump 80, 100% of their value overnight sometimes when they're called up. And there's a lower entry price on some of these guys' cards than there are some of the rookie NFL players. So like you can buy a Bowman First Chrome, which is like your flagship prospect card. You can buy those for really, really cheap, and sometimes they can double or triple overnight. Take Jacob Mizorowski, for example, in Milwaukee last year. When he was called up, his cards went from $2 or $3 a Bowman Chrome First to $60, $70, or sometimes more on some of the whatnot streams. So there's a lot of value to be had sometimes in these cheaper Bowman First Chromes. And I would say if you're looking to get in, that's a really great place to start. Um, it's a low entry point. You're not investing too much money, and you can take advantage of some of these hype cycles. So there are times when you want to buy. Some of the best times to buy are during the off season. So before spring training starts. So we're almost into that cycle now because pitchers and catchers start this week. And this is a different year because we have the World Baseball Classic. So a lot of these younger players are going to get into spring training a little early. But you can also buy in the during spring training when players start to hit before they really go off. And there's other opportunities as well. But buying opportunities, usually I like to buy in the off season. So I bought a lot of Walker Jenkins this winter. I bought a lot of JJ Weatherholt, Kevin McGonigal, Connor Griffin, all those guys before the top 100 came out, and before their cards blew up. And I've got a lot of them that I'm sitting on and a lot that I've already sold. Right now, we're in a major hype cycle as we run into spring training. So I'll talk a little bit later about when to sell. But what are you looking for when you're buying? Well, there's a lot of options. So Chrome First prospects are your flagship prospect card. And after that, you have your prospect Chrome colors or parallels. They come in multiple colors: blue, red, orange, green, and they're numbered usually. Out of 99 is your green, out of 25 is orange, out of 5 is red, and some other non-Bowman are different, but with Bowman, those are pretty standard. And they come in different types of parallels, which is your X-fractors, your geometrics, your shimmers, your true golds or reds, and those are all numbered, and they're really popular. You also have the autos, which are pretty obvious, and then you also have your parallel autos. The most sought out cards are your autograph parallels, your low numbered parallels. They're going to be your most expensive and your highest risk. And those are really easy to find. They're available on pretty much any platform, eBay, whatnot, but there's lots of options. So I would recommend starting small if you're new to prospecting, but if you know who you're looking for, the best way to do it is to go big or go home when it comes to risk. But I would obviously caution you because there's a lot of boom bust again potential in each and every player. There's also you have to be careful when you're buying in regards to what position that player plays or what team they play for. Some teams tend to, their markets are more valuable because they play on a better team, like the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Red Sox. They're going to be your, higher tier prospects if they're really good and more sought out because they play in a big market. They are on a team that is well liked by a lot of people. Whereas a prospect, say, like Walker Jenkins or Jack Caglione for the Royals, they play in small market teams, so their cards are not going to be quite as popular as some of the Jason Dominguez's of the world or Spencer Jones. Or Marcelo Mayer, Roman Anthony, these guys, their cards are going to sell like hotcakes because they have a lot of fans that are buying their cards. Not to mention, people tend to invest in them more. So you have to look at that. You also have to look at position because if a player plays shortstop or outfield, they are going to be more sought out than a player that is a pitcher. Because there's inherently more risk with a pitcher because pitchers tend to get hurt. They have Tommy John surgery. They can blow out their arm and never pitch again, as unfortunate as that might be. So you want to be extra careful with where you put your risk and what you do. For me, I tend to lean on hitters most of the time. I don't buy a lot of pitchers. I am in on a few, but I tend to focus most of my money on hitters because that's where the investment is a little bit safer. If I buy a top tier prospect like Connor Griffin or JJ Weatherholt, I'm in a safer space for a less of an opportunity for injury. Not to say it can't happen because it absolutely can. So now that you've bought the cards and you've chosen what you wanted, and you've diversified with the players that you've purchased, where when do you sell, right? And how do you sell? Those are important questions. And I think the selling strategies for me is my main place that I sell is eBay. I do buy it nows on eBay because I get to set my own price. I can offer the buyers options to send in offers if they want, but I try to do buy it nows, and that's where I lean on, right? So you can sell on Whatnot and do auctions. You can sell on eBay and do auctions, and then your card is going to sell. For the higher end cards, that's probably okay, especially if they're a high end prospect like Connor Griffin, or again JJ Weatherholt or Kevin McGonigal. But the best times to sell are during spring training coming up right now. We're in the hottest hype season for these players. They're gonna get a chance to showcase what they can do, and if Connor Griffin shows up to spring training next week and hits 3 home runs, his cards are going to be astronomically priced. He's going to be the next Ellie De La Cruz, the next Aaron Judge, or however you want to showcase him. I'm not saying he is those guys, but I'm just saying. So you want to buy in long before, and I think you want to sell like during the hype, not after. So if he hits 3 home runs, that's the best time to sell. That's not the best time to buy. If he hits 3 home runs and you don't sell, and then the next day he strikes out, his cards may drop again. So you want to sell into the hype. Sell when the top 100 list releases. So when people are like, oh, who's this guy? He's fifth on the list. He's second on the list. Sell then. That's a great time to sell. When a player's called up for the first time, that's a great time to sell. So after spring training and a player makes the roster, that's a great time to sell. When a player is drafted and they have cards, that's a great time to sell. So like you have to decide where your risk is and where you want to make your money. But for me, my sales time is right about now. I don't usually wait till the season starts because the best time to get out on a player, in my opinion, is, especially if you're not super invested in that player, but you want to sell some of their cards, is to sell when people are like, oh man, everybody's talking about this guy. Everybody is wanting to buy this person's cards. Now is a great time to sell. Selling strategies. I think that this is really a personal choice. This is really something that you have to decide what's best for you. I again do buy it now, as I talked about that earlier. And I think, like, I don't like the risk of auctions. Not to say that there isn't a time and a place for that. But I like to focus mainly on buy it nows. But I can accept offers, and I can do that strategically based on what I paid for a card. I get time to look at those offers and research if I think it's a fair offer and meets competitive prices. So I can look up previous sales. I can try to see if I can buy one for that price. I think that that's a valuable point. So you can also sell in, like, on multiple platforms. There's lots of opportunity. So if you have questions about that, I can obviously do a video about that later. But my strategy is eBay. What are some of the biggest mistakes to avoid in this world? Well, in my mind, the biggest one is don't marry a player. Don't fall in love with a player. The worst thing you can do is find a player that you absolutely love that plays for your favorite team and want to keep him forever. That's a way to go down a dark path where you keep a card way too long and you don't sell into the hype, and you end up having those cards forever. Now, if you are putting those in your PC and they're not an investment, that's a great thing. Personal collections are awesome, and I highly recommend having some cards that you collect and keep for yourself. But don't marry a player that you chose as an investment. Don't be connected to that. Don't hold it till they make the Hall of Fame, because that's years and years and years, right? Sell those prospects, sell them at their height, and then move on to the next class. Don't overexpose yourself to one prospect. Don't spend thousands upon thousands of dollars on one guy and not on anyone else. There's too much risk in this hobby to be wrong. And I'm not saying that you're always going to be wrong, because you probably aren't. You're going to be right sometimes. But you want to diversify your platform. You want to diversify and say, okay, I bought into Connor Griffin. I bought into JJ Weatherholt. You want to diversify all of your prospects and have as many as you can. Well, I hope very much that the video today was really helpful to somebody. I'd love to hear about what prospects that you are hunting for, or that you're investing in right now, and also which ones you're maybe selling before the season starts. We got a big couple weeks ahead in the prospect world as we start to see some of these guys play, and we start to know what kind of level of talent they have, and whether they're going to survive in the major leagues early on in their career. Obviously, we're going to have injuries, and the risk and bust and boom potential is all out there to be searched for. So I'd love for you to comment below who you're looking for, who you're searching for. Yeah, it's only my second video, so I'm just kind of riding the waves here. So I'd love to hear your comments on what you'd like to hear next. If you have any thoughts, questions, any of that, please feel free. Do all the normal things, like, subscribe, share my video. I'd love to hear what you have to say. So thanks for watching today, and I hope you have a great rest of your week. Thanks.